So today we're going to be debunking some myths about fat loss, and we're going to be talking about some practical and some real and some truthful ways about how you can burn body fat, build muscle, and just build a more aesthetic physique. When it comes to metabolism, a lot of people like to over obsess about how fast their metabolism is, when in reality you probably do not know how fast your metabolism is. The truth is, if you want a faster metabolism, muscle mass is key. Muscle mass equals fast metabolism. The more muscle that you have on your frame, the faster you burn calories by default, because muscle is an active tissue. The more muscle that you build, the more resistant training that you do, and the more hypertrophy that you achieve, the faster your metabolism will become as a byproduct of you doing some resistance training. When you think about losing weight, you want to think not just cardio, but you want to think resistance training. Everybody thinks about cardio, everybody thinks about walking, running, and we're going to get into cardio after, but I want you to focus on resistance training. When you do the resistance training and you get stronger and you build more muscle, you are going to find it a lot easier to stay lean. What I want you to understand is, right now you might be overweight or you might be obese. You may have a high body fat percentage, you might be 35%, 40% body fat, but if you was to lose that body fat and build some muscle and build a physique that you're proud of, you would find it a lot easier to stay that size. Right now, in order to be the size that you are, let's say that you are obese, for example, in order to stay the size that you are already eating a large amount of calories to stay that size, to maintain that size. There's something called maintenance calories. You have maintenance calories, surplus calories, and you have deficit calories. Surplus calories is eating more than your maintenance calories to gain weight. Let's say that your maintenance calories at your overweight or obese size is 3,500 calories. That's how much calories you have to eat a day to stay the same size, right? You could theoretically lose body fat, gain muscle, and still be able to eat a somewhat similar amount of calories, maybe 2,800, maybe 3,000 calories, but could become your new maintenance calories because you built more muscle. So just because you are leaner doesn't necessarily mean that you have to eat half the amount of calories to stay that size. But in order to get to that size in the first place, in order to lose the body fat, you are going to have to be in a deficit for a period of time, but eventually, the longer you're on that deficit, the more your body is going to get used to you eating less food, because you're going to need less food to maintain your new size. The more muscle that you gain, the easier it's going to be to stay lean, and the more food you're going to be able to eat while staying in shape. I want you to think of muscle as like an investment. You make an investment, and over the years, it gives you a return. You have to invest a lot of time and effort to get muscle, to build muscle, but the return on investment is worth the time and effort that it takes. You want to start doing resistance training at a younger age, because once you get older, you might start running into certain health complications that make it harder for you to do resistance training consistently. If you're overweight right now and you're 25 and you continue to be overweight or obese until you're 45, the amount of stress that you have put your body under with that excess weight for the last 20 years, you've done irreversible damage. You want to get ahead of this at an earlier age. You do not want to leave it until you're at your late years, when you've already got arthritis and you've already got all of these health complications from being overweight for such a long period of time. Prevention is better than cure. Now, on the contrary, if muscle is an investment, fat is complete trash. Obviously, you need some to function and to be healthy, but body fat at an excessive level is like you hoarding in your house. You need body fat to an extent, but once you have an excessive amount of body fat, just like you need furniture in your house, once you have too much furniture in your house, you have no space. There's no space. It's just junk. You're just hoarding, and it's time to get rid of it, because it doesn't do anything for you. It's complete junk, complete trash. When you have an excessive amount of body fat, I want you to look at it like junk and like trash, something that needs to be taken out because it doesn't do anything for you. It's better for you to be 70 kilograms of pure muscle. I'm talking as a woman, because 70 kilograms as a man is not overweight. But let's say you're a 70 kilogram, 5'4" woman. You can be a 70 kilogram, 5'4" woman of pure muscle, theoretically. Or you can be 70 kilograms of fat, and those are two different things. You're the same weight, but one has function, one has value, one is an investment, and one is complete junk and complete trash. Building muscle is one of the biggest determining factors to living longer. People with more muscle mass tend to live longer and be healthier and live a higher quality of life to people who do not have muscle. It takes muscle to do everything. It takes muscle for me to get out of this chair and to walk and to open a door and to sit on a toilet seat and get up of the toilet seat. And these are things that we take for granted at a young age because we're 20 or we're 30 or we're 40. But when you're 60, 70, 80 and you're in the bathtub and you can't get out of the bathtub and you're thinking, oh, it's because I'm old. No, it's because you have no muscle. I'm not saying age doesn't do things to you. I'm not saying that being older doesn't make life harder. But what I'm trying to say is prevention is better than cure. And you can make your life easier by building muscle at a younger age. And yes, when you age, things will become harder. But you'd be better off having more muscle at 60 years old than having no muscle and now you can't get out of the bathtub or you can't get off the toilet seat. The second point, we already kind of alluded to this earlier, but it's calories in, calories out. Now, what I'm going to say here might piss some people off, but in reality, if you can't lose weight, it's because you're eating too much, irregardless of what you think. If you can't lose weight or you are actively gaining weight, it is because you're either in maintenance or a surplus. You cannot be in a calorie deficit and continue to gain weight. Your main focus needs to be being in a calorie deficit more than doing cardio and trying to burn calories actively. The most calories that you burn in your body is done when resting, when sitting down, watching TV, when breathing, the energy that it takes for you to just basically live and your heart to continue pumping blood around your body and for you to stay alive and your brain to function. That is how the majority of your calories are burned, not through cardio, not through lifting weights. Making sure that you're in a calorie deficit will make or break your fat loss journey. If you are in a surplus, you are not going to lose weight. It doesn't matter how healthy you eat. It doesn't matter how many bicep curls you do. It doesn't matter how many runs you go on. If you are not in a deficit, if you are not burning more calories than you are intaking on a daily basis, you are going to either stay the same weight or continue gaining weight. You just need to become calorie conscious. Being calorie conscious doesn't necessarily mean you need to track every single calorie, but you need to understand how much calories is in some cheese. The full fat cheese versus the low fat cheese. You need to understand how much calories you could cut from drinking a Diet Coke instead of a regular Coke. These are things you need to start looking at. You need to start looking at the back of the packages of the things you eat. Become calorie conscious, and by becoming calorie conscious inadvertently, you will start counting calories and being in a deficit because you now understand what you're doing when you eat the amount of food that you usually eat. Zone 2, low intensity cardio, is better than high intensity cardio for fat loss. When some people think about losing weight or doing cardio in order to burn calories, they think of something super high intense like sprinting, long distance but in higher zone, zone 4 long distance, running a 10k at zone 4. Doing zone 2, even if it's for a longer distance, but low intensity cardio, even walking. Most people, especially if you're watching this and you're overweight or obese, so you're not the fittest person in the world, zone 2, you cannot do zone 2. You can't maintain zone 2 whilst running. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, zone 2 is usually seen as intensity in which you could converse, you could have a conversation whilst doing the exercise. So walking or a slow jog for some people who are even higher fitness, because a lot of unfit people, they could not even slowly jog while staying in zone 2. When you do high intensity cardio, it makes you hungrier. You deplete your carbs and your glucose levels. When you do that, it makes you hungrier. And now not only are you hungry, but you're hungry for carb high foods, usually sugar. You're now hungry for sugar. After you've done this high intensity cardio, you now want sweets, you now want Coca-Cola, you now want biscuits, cookies, whatever, cake. These foods are super high in calories. A lot of these foods are super addictive, like cake, biscuits, cookies. They're very addictive foods, but they're very low in volume for the amount of calories that you get. For example, you can eat a kilogram of watermelon and only eat like 300 calories. If you ate a kilogram of watermelon, you're not hungry for a while. Most people are not going to be hungry after eating that for quite a while. But 300 calories in cookies is like one cookie, 2 cookies. Do you understand? So the volume that you're getting for the amount of food that you're getting is going to mess up your diet completely, because you're still going to be hungry and you're going to want to eat again and again and again. Now you've ate 3 meals and you've basically ate the calories of 2 meals in cookies and sweets. You cannot burn fat in certain areas of your body. People call this, I think it's called spot burning or whatever. People have a certain term for it. I forgot the term, but basically, long story short, it's the idea that you can burn fat in just your arm or just your face or just your leg. When you start burning fat, when you're in a calorie deficit and you're in a fat loss phase, you're going to lose fat everywhere, and you do not get to choose where you lose the fat. So if you're a girl watching this and you're overweight or you're obese and you have really big breasts and you like having really big breasts, I'm sorry, but your breasts are going to get smaller. If you have a big bum and you like having a big bum, your bum is going to get smaller. If you have really big arms and you want to lose the body fat in your arms first, you can't do that. You cannot choose where to lose body fat. When you start losing body fat, you will lose body fat everywhere. And some people will lose it in certain places first or faster than others. You don't get to choose. If your bum is big, but you're 20, 30 kilograms overweight, you're not supposed to be that weight. Don't use that as an excuse to stay overweight. It's better for you to have a smaller bum and to live longer and to be healthier than to have a humongous bum, but you're unhealthy, you're unfit, your belly's big, your face is big, everything's big. Anybody who sells you the dream that if you do this one exercise, you can burn fat in this area of your body, they are just trying to make money. They're just trying to finesse you out of your hard-earned money. Do not listen to them. I know what I'm saying is not as fun to hear, it's not as desirable, but it's the truth. You cannot choose where you burn body fat. Being in a calorie deficit is hard, and that's okay. People these days are so sensitive and so against doing anything that is hard. This fat acceptance community is so prominent nowadays because everybody understands that losing weight is not easy. So therefore, a lot of people have the idea that it's better to stay the weight that they are, to stay overweight, to stay obese, to stay unhealthy. Yeah, it's better to do that than to go through the hard work that it takes to lose weight. And I'm telling you, no, it's not. Most things that are worth having are hard to get. That is what makes it valuable. It would not be valuable to have six-pack abs if everybody has six-pack abs. The thing that I like about having six-pack abs is that nobody has six-pack abs. The thing that I like about having a 120 kilogram incline bench press is that not many people have a 120 kilogram incline bench press. And everybody understands this with loads of other things. If somebody has a PhD, they understand that the thing that's cool about having a PhD is that not many people have a PhD. It wouldn't be very fun if it was easy to get. So my point being is that the fact that it's hard is not only not a bad thing, but it's a good thing because it means less people are going to do it. You're going to stand out. People will respect you more for going through being resilient and going through the things that it takes to be in better shape because everybody understands the value of hard work and everybody respects hard work. And also, you're going to become a better person, a better man or a better woman for going through what it takes to be leaner, to be fitter, to be stronger. Think about not just your body and the body that you're going to obtain. People like to think of their dream body. I want you to think of the dream you, who you're going to become. I'm a way better man than I was when I was skinny. I think on social media, people do over exaggerate and overhype fitness in your life as if being in shape will make you like just this different, like a god or something. It's not going to do that, but it is going to make you a better person. 100%. I will stand on that.